All right, guys, welcome back to the Self Mastery Podcast. I'm your host and self development coach, Ricky Gorsi. On today's topic, we're going to be talking about self respect. So, I'm going to be diving into self respect and what it's all about, how important it is, and how much of a profound impact it can have on your personal life. So, what is self respect to me personally? Self respect to me is the recognition and appreciation of your own worth and value. Okay, it is seeing yourself of someone who is genuinely worthy of respect. It is seeing yourself of someone who is worthy of not only the respect of yourself, but also the respect of other people as well. Okay, now, how do we develop self respect? Okay, how do we develop this, like knowing that we are worthy of our own respect and the respect of other people? In a very simple definition, to make it super, super simple, it would literally be to do more of the things that make us respect ourselves and less of the things that make us disrespect ourselves. Okay, so when you're going throughout your day-to-day life and you're making decisions, right? You're asking yourself, "Oh, should I do this? Should I not do this?" A really good framework that I like to use personally is, would I respect myself more or less after I do this? And when I ask myself this question, everything becomes so clear and everything becomes so evident to me in which I should do or I shouldn't do that thing, right? So when you're about to make a decision, instead of asking yourself, will this make me happy, or will this, give me pleasure, or will this give me like this hit of instant gratification? Ask yourself, will I respect myself more or less after I do this? This little question you can ask yourself will literally change your entire trajectory of your life, because you're basing your decisions off respect, not off pleasure or instant gratification or anything like that. And oftentimes when we ask ourselves this question, it leads us in the right direction. Like, I've yet to make many decisions from this framework, from this question, that have been wrong in the long term. Because self-respect is such a great guiding principle. It's always going to be a good thing. If you're respecting yourself, more than often, it's going to be the right decision. All right. Now, what can this look like? Okay, so let's say you wake up in the morning and you ask yourself, what could I do today to make myself increase my levels of self-respect? Okay, well, if I went to the gym, I'd probably respect myself more. If I ate clean today, I'd probably respect myself more. If I worked on the business like I said I would probably respect myself more. If I treated my partner and my friends and my family in a really good way, I would probably respect myself more. If I was to, clean the house and do everything that you say you're going to do, I would respect myself more. So self-respect and integrity go hand in hand. They are one of the same thing, because integrity is doing what you say you're going to do and keeping your word. Now, self-respect is like intrinsically linked to integrity, because if you don't respect yourself enough to keep your own word, you don't really have that level of self-respect in the first place. So there's some things you can do, right? Now, some examples of things that might make you lose respect for yourself might be skipping the gym, eating unhealthy foods, treating the people around you like shit, not doing what you say you're going to do. All these things can cause you to lose self-respect for yourself. And the thing about self-respect, okay, so self-respect is gained and lost in incremental things, right? It's a small little decisions every single day that add up to your level of self-respect. It's not just like, okay, I just do one big thing a day and that lets me, gain these high levels of self-respect. That's not really how it works. It does in a sense, but it's more so the little things. It's like, okay, I woke up at the time that I said I was going to wake up. Little level of self-respect increase. I made the bed when I woke up, right? I had a cold shower, just like I said I would last night. I got ready for the gym and I went to the gym. I went for a walk after the gym. I worked on the business when I got home. It's the little decisions that build up incrementally and form this high level of self-respect, this like extremely strong foundation of self-respect. Now, it's the exact same, vice versa, right? For the other side of the spectrum. So how do we lose respect for ourselves? Of course, we can lose respect for ourselves with one big act of, just something that's so misaligned with who we are on the level of identity and our values and just like our core being. Of course, you can lose a lot of self-respect just by one action like that. But oftentimes it's the opposite. So oftentimes it's just the small little incremental things. You didn't wake up when you said you were going to wake up. You didn't make the bed when you got up. You didn't have a shower. You skipped the gym. You just started scrolling straight away which made you late for work. You didn't get to work on the things you wanted to work on. Maybe you were a bit, angry at the people around you because you didn't have that time in the morning to actually ground yourself in the present moment. And it's these little things that at the end of the day, you come home and you're like, holy fuck, like I don't feel like I respect myself. So make the decision today to start doing things that are going to increase your levels of self-respect, because it is one of the best things that you could ever do. Okay, so when building self-respect, it's important that you start small, okay? So I wouldn't recommend that you just say, yeah, tomorrow I'm going to wake up. I'm going to just absolutely change my entire routine. I'm going to hit the gym for the first time in 6 months. I'm going to eat everything clean for the first time in fucking 10 years. I'm going to do this. I'm going to redecorate my entire house. I'm going to, just rekindle all the relationships and just really turn up as this whole different person. That's great in idealism. To want that is very, very noble. And it's nice. It's like a dreamer's point of view. But rooting yourself in reality, you're probably not going to make changes that quickly, right? It's more so going to be like this. On the first day, you wake up on the time you say you're going to wake up. And you might go for a walk, right? Cool. That's a win for the first day. You should feel proud of yourself. Second day, you do the same thing. Wake up at the time you said you were going to wake up. Then you go for a walk. And then you decide at the end of the day, hey, I want to go to the gym today. And slowly but slowly, you incrementally increase your levels of self-respect through your action. What you guys will find if you have listened to past podcasts or videos or just know of me in general, a lot of my advice per se is rooted in action. I don't like being like a theorist, right? I like actually being able to take knowledge and to be able to take this information and practically apply it to my life and practically apply it to my situation to increase my personal levels of development. And I want you guys to do the same because it is the most powerful way to do it, in my opinion. Now, another way that you can increase levels of self-respect is by setting and maintaining clear personal boundaries, okay? So a lot of people have issues with setting boundaries. A lot of people have people-pleasing traits. Okay, they struggle to say no. They always want to make sure everyone else is happy. They don't want to step on any toes, per se. And in doing so, they sort of put themselves last and they decrease their levels of self-respect because what they're communicating to their subconscious mind is that they aren't worthy of their prioritization. Everyone else comes before you, right? No one else has to, wait or anything like that because they are at the top of the list and little old you is at the absolute bottom. And you'll never prioritize yourself. And, in doing so, you will never respect yourself. Because in order to prioritize yourself, you actually need to respect yourself. You need to say, hey, listen, I understand you guys need my help and you want my time or this. But right now, I need to do this thing for me. And I'm prioritizing myself and I'm doing that because I'm increasing my levels of self-respect. Now, another thing is practicing self-compassion during times of failure or setbacks. So obviously, you're going to experience setbacks, relapses, failures. Just in general, you're going to experience drawbacks in your self-development journey and on your journey of increasing your levels of self-respect. When this happens, it is crucial that you are compassionate with yourself, and it is crucial that you are not too hard on yourself, right? I'm all about being strict on yourself and having these high standards for yourself, but if you are brutally hard on yourself in times of failures and setbacks and stuff like that, it's actually discouraging you. It's going to make you feel like shit. You're going to put yourself in a state of shame, in an emotional state of self-loathing. There's really no benefit to being that hard on yourself, especially if you learnt from the situation. So if you experience a setback or a failure or anything like that, just say to yourself, okay, I set out to do this. I didn't get it done. I understand why I didn't get it done. And moving forward, that won't happen again. Or even if it does happen again, I'm going to have a lot more understanding around the situation. And in this way, you have self-compassion and you are actually directing love to yourself in times of failure and setback, because realistically, that's when you need it the most. Okay. So another thing that self-respect plays a major role in is actually pursuing your goals and achieving the things you want to achieve and becoming successful in your own definition of that. So if you have a high level of self-respect, so if you believe that you are someone who is really rooted in self-discipline. You believe that you are amazing. Like, you genuinely see yourself as a person worthy of respect. You're going to pursue things. You're going to go after your goals. You're going to actually take action on your own life. I've been in periods of my life where I have had super low levels of self-respect and super high levels of self-respect, right? Now, when I had the super low levels of self-respect, I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to pursue goals. I didn't want to start businesses. I didn't want to talk to people. I didn't want to socialize. And the reason I didn't want to do these things is because I didn't feel worthy of doing these things, right? Self-respect and like self-worth, they're very similar as well. They're linked. Everything is sort of linked. It's like self-development is holistic. Now, when I was in these periods where I had low levels of self-respect, not only was I doing things that were just bad for me and I was in like self-destructive patterns, but I couldn't even do the things that I wanted to do because I didn't have that level of self-respect to be the like initial driving force. But that's why I say start small. Like, if you have low levels of self-respect and if your self-respect levels aren't, high, or even if they're like below average and they're like literally really in the low, you need to start small. Start by making your bed, something so small, something that, could seem so easy to a lot of people. But when you're in these periods when you're, really low and you're in the dumps and all this sort of thing, and you have these low levels of self-respect, it can be something that it seems so hard. So start small and incrementally build yourself up. And as you build your levels of self-respect up, your actions will feel easier and easier and easier because this levels of self-respect is rising, and so is your drive and motivation to do more things that are aligned with your new identity. One thing that I've come across a lot working with so many clients in my self-development coaching business is negative self-talk. Okay, so many people talk to themselves like shit. They do something wrong or they don't do something right, and they're just automatically just swearing at themselves and tearing themselves down, and why can't I do this? Fuck, I can't do anything right. I'm such a piece of shit. This. It's like, bro, you will speak to yourself much better when you respect yourself more. Okay, your self-respect levels and the way you talk to yourself are linked as well, okay? So if you're the sort of person who doesn't respect yourself, you just engage in self-destructive behaviors, you don't really give a fuck about yourself, more than likely you're not going to talk to yourself very well. You're going to speak to yourself like you're a piece of shit because that's what you think you are. Just on the topic of self-talk, just quickly, I like to really use this like mind frame when it comes to self-talk, that I'm talking to my younger self, like 6-year-old me, 5-year-old me, something like that, especially in times of setback or failures. Think about this. If a 5-year-old version of you walked up and they said, hey, I made this mistake. I messed up. I'm really sorry. I don't know why I did it. I don't know how to do it properly. You more than likely wouldn't go off at that kid and say, you're a piece of shit. Why did you do that? Why can't you just get it right? You're so stupid. You don't get anything right. You more than likely wouldn't speak to the kid like that. And if you do, you got some self-development work to do. You should reach out to me personally. But in the same way, we speak to ourselves like that, okay? So when we make a setback or a failure or something like that, oftentimes we speak to ourselves so nasty, and we speak to ourselves with such negative language to literally tear ourselves down, almost in the delusional sort of like, we have this delusional sense that speaking to ourselves like this and speaking to ourselves in such a negative way is going to shame ourselves into growth and into being better next time. And that's just not the case. You're not going to shame yourself into being better. The way you become better and the way you actually improve yourself and overcome failures and setbacks and stuff like that is with compassion, and is with learning from every mistake, and is using these mistakes as a resource to learn from, like a past reference where you can refer back to and say, okay, last time I did this, I made this mistake. Now I'm not going to make this mistake again. So that's really important. Start to understand that there is an inner child within you. And you may be disconnected from this inner child because, it's not something that's necessarily super popular in the Western culture. But there is an inner child in you, and that version of you exists within you. And when you talk to yourself like that, you're like essentially talking to that little kid, and you're fucking breaking their heart, man. So just keep that into consideration. Okay, now I want to talk about how your self-respect levels affect your like social interactions, relationships, friendships, everything like that. When someone sees that you don't respect yourself, okay, so if someone sees that you don't respect yourself and you don't give a fuck about yourself and you just in self-destructive behaviors and all these sort of things, more than often, these people aren't going to respect you either. Okay, that's just human nature. Now, in an ideal world, everyone would respect everyone just automatically, but that's not really how it works. Oftentimes, how it works is other people will respect you to the degree that you respect yourself. If you're not respecting yourself, and if you're treating yourself like shit, and if you're talking to yourself like shit, and everything like this, other people are going to do the same. Other people are like mirrors back to ourselves in the sense of how they treat us is how we treat us. Okay? Now, vice versa, if someone sees you and you're treating yourself with super high levels of self-respect, they can see you don't tolerate bullshit. They can see you talk to yourself with compassion. They can see you're growth-minded. They can see that you genuinely love and care about yourself and see yourself as someone of value. They are going to do the same. That's how it works. Human nature. We mirror each other. We mirror the behavior and the way that we treat ourselves back to one another. That's literally how it works. And this isn't like a thing of a conscious decision. It's a subconscious, like automated process. You do it without even realizing you're doing it. And even if you try to not do it, you still do it to some degree or another. So take that into consideration when, deciding whether or not you want to increase your levels of self-respect. Which at this point, I hope it's a no-brainer. Okay, so another thing is just on the topic of respect. Okay, so, and social interaction specifically. If there is like someone in your life or multiple people in your life that are disrespecting you and they're not showing you respect and they're continuously doing things that you've asked them not to, maybe you've set boundaries, maybe you've said to them, hey, I would really appreciate it if you didn't do this thing anymore, or if you didn't treat me like this, or if you didn't call me this, or yada, 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 whatever it is that you've asked these people to do. And they can understand that it hurts you and it's not aligned with, what you want for the interaction, and they continue to do this. Firstly, I just want to say they don't respect you, because someone who respects you will respect your boundaries. And, even if it's hard for them to do, they will understand that in doing this, I'm disrespecting them. Okay, so that's the first thing. The second thing is, if someone continues to breach your boundaries and disrespect you, you need to respect yourself enough to walk away from the situation or walk away from the person. Okay, so I'll say that again. If someone continuously disrespects you, you need to respect yourself enough to walk away from them. Okay, now yes, give them a few chances. Say to them, hey, I've asked you to not do this. I've asked you to not breach this boundary. I've asked you to show some more respect to me. But if they're still doing it after you've communicated in a really effective and healthy way multiple times, you need to respect yourself enough to walk the fuck away. Okay, now I know how hard that can be. I know that process. I've experienced it, and it's not an easy process, especially if you have a lot of love for the person, especially if you have a lot of history with the person and you have this like almost sentimental connection to this person. You don't want to let go of that history, but you got to do it. You got to prioritize yourself. You got to respect yourself. And as I said before, what you tolerate in others will show them the levels of self-respect, the levels of respect, that they have to give you. If you're tolerating bullshit, it's going to be repeated. I have a quote that I think I made it. I don't know. I haven't seen it anywhere else, but basically it goes, disrespect that's tolerated is disrespect that's repeated. If you allow someone to disrespect you over and over and over and over again, and you think in your mind that it's going to change one day magically, you are fucking delusional. You have literally taught this person through what you're allowing and through what you're tolerating what is acceptable. That's how people work. If they see something and there's no consequence or there's no negative outcome to it, they're like, okay, cool. I guess they're okay with it. Cool. And even if you say something, if you don't follow through with your words, they're going to continue it. And that's that's a really important thing to do, setting boundaries. And then after you set the boundaries and let them know of the potential negative consequence that will come from them breaching those boundaries, you need to stay true to your word and do what the fuck you say you're going to do. Because if you don't, what do you think that's doing and saying and communicating to the people that you've said that to? I'll tell you what it says. It says, my word doesn't mean shit, and you can continue to disrespect me as much as you want, because I'm not going to do anything about it, because I don't respect myself, and I don't think that, I'm worthy of respect or love. Which isn't true. It's absolutely not true, but that's what you're communicating to these people. So protect your boundaries, stay true to your word, respect yourself, and walk away from motherfuckers who don't respect you. All right. So now what I want you guys to do is I want you to actually apply this knowledge, okay? So just like with anything, I want you to apply the information and apply the knowledge that I tell you guys. I don't want you to just listen to this podcast or listen to this reel or wherever you're listening to this and just feel like, okay, cool, that was a good podcast, turn it off and never apply anything to your life. I want you to start applying this. So first thing I want you to do, I want you to do something today or tomorrow, depending on what time you're listening to this, that will increase your levels of self-respect. Start small, gradually build up. It could literally be making your bed as soon as you get up, or it could be going to the gym, or it could be not associating yourself with that unhealthy person, or whatever it is. I want you to do one thing that will increase your levels of self-respect. I don't know what that is. You know what that is, and you need to determine that for yourself, and you need to take action and do it. And if you do that, and if you have good results, I want you to reach out to me and message me and let me know your experience. On my Instagram, it's my name, so Ricky Gauci, R-I-C-K-Y space G-A-U-C-I. Now, the second thing I want you to do, just because we touched on boundaries and all that sort of thing, if you have someone in your life who's disrespecting you and who's continuously disrespecting you, first thing, set some boundaries with them. Let them know you're not going to tolerate that shit anymore. Let them know it's not okay. Let them know their behavior isn't something you're going to accept anymore. See how they react to that. See if they respect your boundaries and actually change their actions. If they don't, have the conversation again. Say, hey, I said to you that these are my new boundaries, and if you don't respect them, there's going to be a negative consequence, more than likely me walking out of your life. If they continue to disrespect you and they continue to breach your boundaries after you've had multiple conversations with them, walk the fuck away. Respect yourself enough to do that. Okay, now I'm not saying just leave any social interaction and break up with your girlfriend and leave your mates and, abandon your family, anything like that. I'm not saying that, but what I am saying is just you need to respect yourself enough to be able to walk away from people who disrespect you continuously, like over a long period of time. Give them a few chances, be a little bit lenient with it, but don't let it play out for your entire life, because it's just going to cause havoc on not only your experience, but also on your levels of self-respect, because in accepting disrespect from other people, you're also communicating to yourself on a subconscious level that that's the respect that you deserve. Thank you for listening, guys. I really appreciate your time. I appreciate you guys trusting me with your growth and really taking the time out of your day to listen to this stuff and really do the work on yourself. I know a lot of the time this stuff can be hard to do, and it's like something that it's easier to just pretend that it's not there and it doesn't matter. But I really appreciate you guys putting the time into this and doing the work. It's really noble and it's courageous. If you guys are interested in working with me in a one-on-one setting or even in a group setting, feel free to reach out to me on my Instagram. As I mentioned before, it's just my name. And yeah, we can go from there. I'll see you all on the next episode. Thank you.